Have you ever wondered if it's wrong to read psalms such as Psalm 109, 35 and 37 when enemies have wronged you? This question, seemingly simple yet deeply complex, opens up a wide-ranging discussion, inviting us to delve into the rich tapestry of faith, ethics and personal perception. Welcome to our exploration of the imprecatory Psalms. These are verses within the book of Psalms that contain prayers for the punishment of adversaries. They are words steeped in raw human emotion and a cry for divine justice when faced with wickedness. Yet, they are also the source of much controversy, a paradox that sets them apart from the gentler, more comforting psalms we often turn to in times of need. The crux of the debate lies in the juxtaposition of these psalms against the teachings of Jesus, particularly his exhortation in the Gospel of Matthew to love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. It is this apparent contradiction that raises the question, is it wrong to read and pray these imprecatory psalms when we've been wronged? Different people, different faiths, different cultures, they all bring their unique perspectives to this question. Some see in these psalms a validation of their feelings of anger and a need for justice, while others view them as contrary to the principles of love and forgiveness that underpin many religious teachings. Today we're setting out to explore these differing viewpoints, to grapple with the complexities of this question. We'll delve into why some believe it's wrong to read these psalms, why others believe it's right, and whether there might be a middle ground that reconciles these divergent views. As we embark on this exploration, let's remember to keep an open mind, to respect all perspectives, and to engage in thoughtful, compassionate dialogue. After all, it's through such conversations that we deepen our understanding, broaden our horizons, and grow as individuals and as a community. As we explore this topic, let's keep an open mind and consider all perspectives. So why do some people believe it's wrong to read these psalms in times of conflict? A valid question indeed. To understand this perspective, we must delve into the teachings of Jesus, specifically the verse Matthew 5, verse 44. This verse is a cornerstone of Christian doctrine. It reads, "But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you." These words, spoken by Jesus himself, encourage a spirit of love, forgiveness, and benevolence towards all, even those who might not wish us well. It's a radical call to love that transcends natural human instincts of retaliation and revenge. Psalms like Psalm 109, 35 and 37 are often referred to as the imprecatory psalms. These are psalms that invoke judgment, calamity, or curses upon one's enemies, or those perceived as the enemies of God. The language used in these psalms can seem harsh, even vindictive. Some might argue that this kind of language, this desire for retribution, contradicts the teachings of Jesus. Hence, reading these psalms in times of conflict may be seen as wrong. For instance, Psalm 109 verse 6 says, "Set thou a wicked man over him, and let Satan stand at his right hand." This is a cry for retribution, a plea for divine justice. To some, this appears to be in stark contrast with the message of love and forgiveness that Jesus preached. Similarly, Psalm 35 verse 8 reads, "Let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he hath hid catch himself. Into that very destruction let him fall." Here again we see a plea for divine intervention against an enemy, a prayer that harm will befall those who have caused harm. These psalms, in their rawness and honesty, expose the human desire for justice, a justice that sometimes looks like revenge. They lay bare the human heart in its most vulnerable state, hurt, wronged, seeking vindication. Yet Jesus' teachings urge us to rise above these natural instincts, to love instead of hate, to bless instead of curse, to do good instead of returning evil for evil. This, some argue, is the essence of the Christian faith, a call to radical love that transcends human understanding and natural instincts. In this light, it's understandable why some individuals might believe it's wrong to read these psalms in times of conflict. They argue that these psalms may not align with the teachings of Jesus, teachings that urge us to love and pray for our enemies, not wish harm upon them. This perspective emphasizes the importance of forgiveness and love, even in the face of adversities. It's a perspective that challenges us, pushes us out of our comfort zones and invites us to reflect on what it truly means to love as Jesus loved. On the other hand, why do some people believe it's right to read these psalms when wronged by enemies? The argument here is that these psalms, including Psalms 109, 35 and 37, are an expression of very human emotions and desires for justice. These are not just words on a page, but the heartfelt cries of individuals who have been wronged, hurt and mistreated. They are a testament to the raw and real struggles that people face and the emotions that come with them. Consider this. When you are wronged, do you not feel a surge of anger, a yearning for justice, perhaps even a desire for revenge? It's a natural human response, an instinctive reaction to injustice. And these psalms capture and express these feelings in a poignant and powerful way. Now, some might argue that these feelings are contrary to the teachings of love, forgiveness, and turning the other cheek. But let's delve a little deeper. These psalms do not advocate for personal revenge or harboring ill will. Instead, they are a form of communication with the divine, an expression of feelings and frustrations, a plea for divine intervention and justice. Think of it this way: when you're upset, don't you sometimes vent to a friend or write in a journal? It's a way of processing your feelings, of understanding what you're going through. These psalms serve a similar purpose. They are a way for individuals to process their feelings of anger and hurt and communicate them to God. But it doesn't stop there. These psalms are not just about expressing feelings, they are also about trust. Trust in divine justice. They are a way of saying, I am hurt, I am angry, but I trust you to handle this. I trust you to bring about justice. It's a powerful statement of faith and surrender, a recognition that vengeance belongs to God, not to us. So is it wrong to read these psalms when wronged by enemies? Those who argue it's right see these psalms as an honest dialogue with God, a way of processing intense emotions, and ultimately a declaration of trust in divine justice. They believe that it's okay to express these feelings to God as long as we ultimately leave the matter in His hands. This perspective does not dismiss or trivialize the teachings of love and forgiveness. Rather, it acknowledges that these virtues can coexist with feelings of anger and a desire for justice. It recognizes that we are complex beings capable of a wide range of emotions, and that it's okay to feel and express these emotions, as long as we don't let them consume us or lead us down a path of hatred and revenge. This perspective recognizes the validity of human emotions, while also emphasizing trust in divine justice. Could there be a middle ground in this debate? This is a question that often arises when we grapple with such complex issues. The controversy surrounding the reading of psalms like Psalm 109, 35 and 37, when one has been wronged, is one such issue. Perhaps it's not the act of reading these psalms that's problematic, but rather how we interpret and apply them. To explore this possibility, we need to delve a bit deeper into the historical and cultural context of these biblical verses. The Psalms were written thousands of years ago in a time and place vastly different from our own. The societal norms, the cultural practices, the understanding of justice and morality, all these were different from what we know today. Understanding this context is key to interpreting these Psalms. For instance, Psalm 109 is often seen as a curse, a call for vengeance against an enemy. But if we look at it in the context of an ancient society where justice was often a personal affair, we can see it differently. It becomes an appeal to a higher power, to God, for justice. It's not about personal revenge, but about trust in divine judgment. Similarly, Psalm 35, while seeming to call for harm to befall one's enemies, can also be seen as a plea for divine intervention against injustice. And Psalm 37, with its exhortation to fret not thyself because of evildoers, is essentially a call to trust in God's timing and justice. So how do we apply these psalms today? We live in a world where justice is no longer a personal affair. We have laws, courts, systems in place to deal with wrongdoing. Does that mean these psalms are irrelevant to us? Not necessarily. These psalms, when read and interpreted with wisdom, can serve as a reminder that ultimate justice is in God's hands. They can help us to let go of our personal vendettas, our desire for revenge, and to trust in divine justice. They can help us to find peace in the midst of conflict, to find hope in the face of injustice. These psalms are not a call to harm our enemies, but a call to trust in God's justice. They are a call to patience, to faith, to hope. We should not use them to justify hatred or revenge, but to find strength and comfort. But, as with all things, wisdom is needed. Just as a knife can be used to prepare a meal or to cause harm, so these psalms can be used for good or ill, depending on our understanding and intention. So, is it wrong to read these psalms when we have been wronged? It depends. If we use them to fuel our anger, to justify revenge, then yes, it is wrong. But if we use them to find peace, to trust in divine justice, then no, it is not wrong. Finding a middle ground requires understanding the Psalms in their proper context and applying them with wisdom. As we conclude this discussion, let's summarize the main points. We've explored the complex and nuanced perspectives surrounding the reading of Psalms 109, 35, and 37 when one has been wronged by their enemies. On one hand, we've heard the voices of those who find it challenging to reconcile these particular psalms with the teachings of Jesus, who urged us to love our enemies, bless those who curse us, do good to those who hate us, and pray for those who mistreat and persecute us. These individuals argue that the imprecatory nature of these psalms seems to contradict the message of forgiveness and love that Jesus professed. On the other hand, we've considered the viewpoints of those who believe it's right to read these psalms in times of adversity. They argue that these psalms are a raw and honest expression of human emotions, providing a model for how to pour out one's heart to God in times of distress. They suggest that these psalms, like all scripture, are divinely inspired and therefore have a place in our spiritual journey. We've also touched upon a potential middle ground, a perspective that acknowledges the tension between the command to love our enemies and the harsh words found in these psalms. This viewpoint suggests that these psalms can be read as a means of venting one's anger and pain to God, rather than as a call for divine retaliation against one's enemies. It's clear that this is a complex issue with no easy answers. The diverse perspectives we've explored highlight the richness and complexity of the Bible and the wide range of human experiences and emotions it encompasses. In the end, it's crucial to approach these psalms, and indeed all scripture, with an open mind, a humble heart, and a desire for truth and understanding. Remember, the purpose of engaging with scripture is not to foster division or contention, but to gain wisdom, find comfort, and grow in our relationship with God and with each other. This conversation doesn't end here. There is much more to uncover, to question, and to understand. We've delved into why some people believe it's wrong to read psalms like Psalm 109, 35, and 37 when enemies have done wickedness to them. We've explored why others believe it's right. We've sought to find a middle ground, a balance between the teachings of Jesus and the raw human emotions expressed in these psalms. Yet this is just the beginning. There are layers upon layers of interpretations, perspectives, and experiences waiting to be shared and scrutinized. This is where you come in. The beauty of a discussion like this lies in its diversity. It's in the myriad of voices that come together to share their thoughts, their beliefs, their experiences. So, we invite you to be part of this conversation. Share your perspectives on the topic. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you turn to these psalms? How did you reconcile it with the teachings of Jesus? Or perhaps you believe it's wrong to read these psalms in such a situation? If so, how do you deal with feelings of anger and betrayal? Your voice matters. Your experiences, your perspectives, they add depth to this discussion. They help us all to broaden our understanding and to see things from different angles. So, don't hold back. Let's keep this conversation alive. Let's continue to question, to explore, to seek understanding. Remember to like and share this video if you found it insightful. Let's spread this discussion far and wide. Let's invite others to join in, to share their thoughts and to learn from each other. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content. We're constantly exploring new topics, questioning established beliefs, and seeking to understand the world around us. Until next time, keep exploring and keep questioning.